really know what's going on over there other than everybody's dumb.
The instant you step out of line, you say something that they don't like and they don't like you personally, they're going to use all those pre-existing laws and they're going to use it on you.
Woman exposed her male genitalia to women and underage girls. That's what happened.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way. It's super cringe.
There's got to be like 5 songs, Eric Butler, TatumReport.com, that I use over and over again to intro the show.
5 what?
Different songs only.
Oh.
I'm Back by Eminem and maybe the Jeffersons theme song a couple times. UOPod.com, unauthorized opinions on Pawn. Pawn. Yeah, I've been watching too much Pawn Stars. Chumley loses a lot of weight. Yeah, that too. And of course, we're live on Twitter, YouTube, and Getter, the best podcast on Getter. I'm losing my mind apparently because I can't speak. Too much Fetterman has rubbed off on me, but the elections are over. Shout out Twitch. Shout out everyone else on Spotify and Google and Apple Podcasts. Is the election in Arizona over yet, Eric?
Dude, it's an absolute mess. Yeah, Carrie Lake refused to concede, and now the AG is stepping in. The Attorney General, of course. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, look, Katie Hobbs, of course, was the Secretary of State, and I think it goes without saying. Dominic Izzo, I think, put it best. And do you follow that guy? Dominic Izzo, he's kind of like he's kind of like one of those business guys. He makes videos in his car and with a big tie, and he has a cigar. And he basically said that it's nothing groundbreaking. He didn't reinvent the wheel, but he's like, if a Republican, I should say, was the Secretary of State and was overseeing their own election, and it took more than a week to count the votes, or it took a week to count the votes, and then they eventually won, cities would burn. But since it was a Democrat, it's okay. And now Carrie Lake, she seems to be pushing back. But look, no, to answer your question, it's not over. And it's just really funny because, bro, it all makes sense now, right? Rob from Huey Media made a great point as well, which I think we all could see coming also, is that when Katie Hobbs decided that her campaign strategy was going to be not debating her opponent, that should have been a dead giveaway. It's like, doesn't matter. I don't have to tell you people anything. It's going to work for me. The machine works for me. So shut your face. And so, yeah. And now the election denier smear that has been foisted upon Carrie Lake fits like a glove. Oh, can you believe it? She's denying the election again. So no, it's not over.
It's never over. We're fresh off of Stacey Abrams and Beto and all those people who denied I don't know if we can include Beto, but Stacey Abrams never conceded the first time. Hillary didn't concede. The Green Party, Jill Stein, didn't concede, called for the recount in 2016. They just assume that you won't remember anything. And I'm reminded of this because I saw an Apple ad yesterday, I think it was last night. They're back to multicolor shadow people. I don't know if you noticed. They've swung full back around to 2000 now. They're doing the iPad commercials instead of the original iPod commercials where the person with who's a shadow is dancing, and they've got all these different colored iPods. They're doing the same thing now, just with iPads. And I'm sure the same commercials from before will follow. They assume, just like the fashion world and all of marketing assumes, that everybody forgets at least every 20 years, and they try bell-bottom jeans again or skinny jeans. But in the politics world, it's like less than 2 years, 2 years maximum. Hillary Clinton wanted you to forget that she was against gay marriage, just like Barack Obama was.
And
Joe Biden, all these things all these terrible things they said about building the wall and everything. And Joe Biden wants you to forget what he said less than 2 years ago when he ran about ending fracking or continuing fracking or ending fossil fuels.
Dude, he said he was going to cure cancer. Joe Biden declared that he was going to cure cancer.
That's how outraged I was that I hit my microphone. But John Fetterman forgot, of course, because of his medical condition. I guess you could say that about Biden as well. But they all just forget everything and then pretend that you've also forgot, like you don't have the internet. And sometimes you do. There's so much crap. You need like I don't know, what is it? The Trump War Room or something, the right wing media matters, to remind you via a compilation. And if it was legit coming from Media Matters or Open Society Foundation or something like that, and they showed you a legitimate compilation, which they don't, they'll show you 2 seconds of context. That's the level of honesty with the two sides. But sometimes you need that sort of things. And if it was legitimate on the other side, you need it too. Like if somebody was to come up with a left wing video to remind you that George Bush, sent trillions of dollars and weapons of mass destructions and everything, then you'd be like, okay, that's legitimate. So on the other side, sometimes you need to be reminded, is my point, because there are people like Lindsey Graham and Mitt Romney that want you to forget that they went to Ukraine to tell them they'd protect them forever 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And now they're doing it, and they're just like, oh, it's because of, we have to help them and we love them. I'm getting way off track here, but don't laugh at me, Eric. Now I've lost my track.
Dude, Ukraine. Are we still even doing that? I honestly don't even know.
What's going on? You guys gave him another $4 billion the other day or some crap like that. And my girl makes me watch these 90-day fiance things, and they're all from Ukraine, and they promote how amazing Ukraine is. These women, they go to Germany, obviously, for social assistance, marry a man, and then leave him, basically. It's all Ukraine all the time. So I don't know where you thought you were going with getting off of Ukraine, but that's not happening, Eric.
Well, I think just to your earlier point about how
Okay,
you're
go ahead.
supposed to forget everything, and that's precisely why any type of pattern recognition is immediately deemed conspiracy, right? Like you weren't supposed to remember
Mhm.
that. You weren't even supposed to know like that. That was like 4 or 5 days ago, man. You remember that? Remember that? That's what happens.
True.
So as soon as you can remember anything, and I to not to pat myself on the back, but I made like one of my very first YouTube videos was at the very beginning of Rona in early 2020. Um, because I thought at that point in time, I thought that Rona was more about the presidential election. I'm now realizing that it's a much bigger global overhaul. But you could just look at all the things that led up to from the day that Trump was inaugurated, like literally when the Washington Compost on January 17th, 2017 said he needs to be impeached on the day he was inaugurated. And you can look at the Vegas shooting and all sorts of things, Weinstein, Epstein, all this stuff that happened leading up to Rona, and just being it was just so obvious that it wasn't genuine. Like they just repackaged the flu, allegedly. Susan, I'm sorry.
Allegedly, Susan. Don't call me Susan, or wait, I think it's don't call me Shirley. It's a classic thing. They, they're running out of. I used to say they've run out of everything, but then we went through the 2 years of lockdowns because the racism thing was pretty much over, and then they found the thing that they could go to, and now it's like trans everything, and trans surgeries and gender affirming care is a thing. And I think we might as well bring this up now that we're talking about it. But if I can figure out my new setup here, it's like my TV has an invisible border wall. I don't even know how I came across this. Somebody else posted it, but there are actually trans and fiction novels now.
This has to be a
Romance novels.
troll. This has to be a troll. The teacher is a troll. Dylan Mulvaney is a troll. This is trolling. Has to be. No way around it.
Trans Wizard Harriet Porber in the Theater of Love by Chuck Tingle. What does that say? An adult romance novel? But that's not
Is that Jared
all. There's
Leto in the bottom. Who is that? Is that like a little?
no, I guess it's just some guy on a cereal box. I don't know. But you're maybe wondering what this pterodactyl-like creature is. I mean, surely for sexual fantasies, is that the same image used twice? But trans wizard Harriet Porber and the bad boy Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus? So some sort of dinosaur man? And it's a bad boy. It's I don't know. Let's see if we can get a little synopsis here. Blow that up, I think.
this can't be. I mean, it's real. It exists, but it's not to be taken
Trans wizard
seriously. There's
Harriet
no way.
Porber is a master spellsmith who's found herself in a bit of a pickle. After finishing wizard college, she's just so lazy even for this writing. Harriet made a name for herself by creating a hit viral spell, but has since failed to craft a follow-up. Now, Harriet's agent, Minerva, is breathing down her neck, suggesting that Harriet take a trip to the island off the coast of England for inspiration. Hoping for some peace and quiet to clear her head, Harriet Porber arrives to find that her new neighbor, an angsty bard named Shabe from the band 7 Inch
Snabe?
Nails, Snape from the band 7 Inch Nails, because 9 Inch Nails, is already there making a racket. The Parasaurolophus spellcaster is a bad boy through and through, and with his incredible powers of meta magic, Snape reveals that this layer of reality is much more than it seems. Could Harriet and Snape really be characters in a parody romance novel? Soon enough, these two are discovering that they have more similarities than differences. Both trans, both strong. So the thing is also trans, and both hoping to create a new spell that'll change the world. So there's so many layers to this. There's a $2,000 word, 52,000 word bad boy romance novel for adults. Contains some explicit scenes. So there's a lot of layers to this, Eric.
Can you find
And,
out when this was published? Is it new?
I can, if I can get
You
this
know,
to go
okay.
over.
It actually doesn't even matter. But there's no. I mean, we're not. There's look.
It's the fact that this exists, Eric, and yes, it's a parody, and they're doing like some sort of Inception thing. That's like, hey,
Yeah,
are we
are
in
the
this
real?
novel?
Are the real? I guess my question is: are the real Transformers the ones who actually believe this stuff, like the ones out in San
What does that
Francisco?
mean, though?
Are they looking at this and like, yeah, representation, or do they realize that it's fake?
Well, they're trying to do this to get kids to be normalized to the fact, like when you create fan fiction, of course, if you look at anything, let's go with Star Wars, so I like Star Wars. You look at fan fiction of that, it's going to be ultra nerd level, of course, or Lord of the Rings, people filling in the gaps where they want. But they're making a Harry Potter ripoff trans fan
Dinosaur.
fiction dinosaur sex scenes, and I don't think this is too far away from this could either be a person saying, let me write anything about anything and see if it sells as a joke, or a person that's like, this is what they want to write about. And I don't think anyone would even entertain this as anything other than a joke. If we were in 2022, we certainly would be sitting here questioning it.
Well, I guess now that I'm thinking about it a little bit longer, it's not any more ridiculous than identifying as a woman. It's really not. I mean, because once you've crossed the Rubicon, you've crossed the Rubicon.
I knew I could get you there.
Right? Like, why not? Like, I was at home watching football on Thanksgiving. I'm like, well, I could just identify as a running back. Like, I mean, there's no like once you just create anything and do nothing matters, then of course there's a transgender dinosaur. Obviously, duh.
Obviously. And
So
I like how they're creating a spell for clout. This is the thing.
yeah, well, because you got to get. I recently learned that my blind spot was for Snapchat, not TikTok. Everybody knows about TikTok and how it's owned by China and we should ban it or whatever. But Snapchat was flying way under the radar for me. And yeah, so you get your. That's how Katie Hobbs won the election. That's what I learned. It's through Snapchat.
Well,
So
it's an
that's how you get your clout.
American company. It's very left wing, and it's not owned by any giant corporations, which is probably why they don't promote it as much. It's harder to control them because they are straight like video games, young girls dancing. It's like it's degeneracy on display. It's hard to argue that. And it's like, they all ripped it off from them, to be fair, though. So they probably don't want to draw any attention to that. If they can't own Snapchat and they ripped everything off of there, which is like Snapchat stories became Instagram Reels, which became TikToks, which became
I think
YouTube
TikTok
Shorts.
was before the Reels, though. Just
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, because
Vine was before all of it, Eric.
Vine, that is correct. Yes, but Instagram had to keep up with TikTok, and that's why they introduced the reels.
And we all know how the brothers love Vine. Let's TBH here.
Yeah, this is true. Did I send you that old TikTok or that old Vine of the guys in the car?
No, but I've probably seen it. I've seen like every Vine compilation there is.
Oh man, I swear I thought I sent you that one where they're in the car listening to Cher. These two black guys are in the car listening to Cher, and then the white guys walk by, and the white guys see them, and then the guys in the car are like, oh, and then they have to start blasting.
That's like the opposite of the beginning of Office Space, you know, where he's
You had to be
listening to
there.
the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah, it's all exactly. It's like the opposite of that. Exactly.
I watched
I sent
another.
I sent that to like
90s
half a
black
dozen
movie.
people. I don't know how you didn't get it. I sent that to like 6 people.
Yeah, that's odd. I'm disappointed. I watched the movie. Damn, now I forget it. Nas and DMX star Belly.
Oh,
It's
Belly.
called. You remember this one? And
I do remember. I mean, I don't like remember the plot, but I saw it, and I
DMX is a drug dealer, gets drugs from a Jamaican guy, screws him over by killing somebody. The most interesting part,
Hype
of course,
Williams
of any
is the director.
yes,
It's like all the
everything's
black
in a
lighting,
blue
like the
tint.
weird,
Yeah, blue tint.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, of course, watching it, and we're saying, okay, when is the obligatory 90s, you know, African American movie sex scene going to come up? You know, it's going to have very graphic sex. It's going to have very cheesy music. And this time, Eric, we were blessed with a double sex scene of Nas having sex with the girl from TLC. T-Boz, and DMX having a stunt double because they don't show his face, having sex with some other girl that I vaguely recognize from the 90s. So double sex scene there. To music written by but not performed by R. Kelly. R. Kelly wrote a few songs off that movie soundtrack.
It's funny.
And Sean Paul's in there for some reason as well. In the movie, he shows up.
That you think DMX would use a stunt double? I mean, DMX was RIP. You know, no shade, but
there's a reason why they don't show his face in the sex scene, and I would imagine either because he doesn't want that to be traced back to him. But of course, in all these scenes, Eric, there's a lot of graphic thrusting, sounds.
Well, my thing is, I mean, was DMX so protective of his reputation as somebody who rapped about some pretty dark things that he didn't want his butt cheeks to be shown on a movie?
This was 1998. Was this when he turned to Christ, or was that later?
I don't know.
Lord, give me a sign. Remember that song?
He had vaguely. He had the early DMX.
I really need to talk to you, Lord. The last time we talked, times have been hard.
Dude, he's dead. You can't make fun of him, bro.
I'm not making fun of him. It's songs on my playlist, dog. Lord, give me a sign. He was just yelling to God, is what it was for an album. He's just yelling at Christ.
Well, here's my thing. I didn't I was young. I was super young. I don't know, but only the first two DMX albums I remember were big, and then the rest it just kind of fell. So I don't know. You know,
Method Man was in it, of course, playing the role Method
Man.
Yeah,
what do you remember? What year Belly was? Was that you said it was 98?
98.
Interesting. Yeah. I was still I probably didn't even watch it until college, to be honest with you. But
I never saw it. Slipped under my radar.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was because Hype Williams was he was directing all the rap videos at the time. Like he directed, I think, probably Mo Money, Mo Prob, all the big rap videos at the time. So it was like his step up, his level up into the motion.
I didn't realize Nod has such bad teeth, Eric.
Oh, well, he actually, in later albums, he rapped about how he got them fixed.
Well, good for him.
Yeah. That's what you
Nas
do.
would play the good guy in that movie. So moving on, speaking of great places, and where would that have been? Nas is from the Bronx or No, he's not from Brooklyn.
Queens, bro.
Queens, yeah. But Queens doesn't seem like King of Queens makes me think that it's not hood at all. And
50 Cent is also from Queens. Run DMC, Queens.
Jamaica, Queens. Yeah, I know that. I did know that. Yeah. Well, I'm a Harlem guy. You know that.
Well, look, I think, and we talked about this briefly. Did we skip 2 weeks? I forget. But
No, but
if you
other,
Google rappers from Brooklyn, it's like basically everybody, but then there's still a whole bunch from Queens, obviously Harlem, ASAP Rocky, Diddy, all those guys from Manhattan. But yes, Nas from Queens, everybody knows that except for you.
Okay. Eric went back to Oakland. What's the nickname for Oakland? Oaktown?
The town, the city, the town. Obviously, San Francisco's the city. Oakland is
Golden
the town.
State.
This is yeah, bro. So dark. This is
It made me think of like driving in like a Central American city.
well, this is about. Oh yeah.
You're listening to is that Elephant Man or Beanie Man?
I think it's Beanie Man. That's what my
Copyright for that on that one. So
that's what my mom's car is set to, like early 2000s R&B hip hop. What? Anyways, actually,
very cool.
but so that little strip of land, of course, was near the Coliseum, which is where the Warriors used to play, which is where the Raiders used to play, where the Oakland A's have been trying to escape for more than a decade. And this is the
they'll never get out.
They'll never get out. They try to go to Fremont, and they try to go to San Jose, and they try to go all these places. They can't get out, whatever. But this is actually the best of it, right? Like, granted, there's beautiful parts of Oakland. I'm not denying that. There's gorgeous parts of Oakland up on the hill, Piedmont, whatever, all that stuff. But this is like the creme de la creme of the homeless encampments, because they actually have these RVs. A whole bunch of other stuff, like if you go to West Oakland, 27th Street, 30th Street, like kind of closer to the Bay Bridge, like if you're headed towards San Francisco, it's just, they don't even have the campers. It's just tents and garbage, bro. Like San Francisco, for some reason, it's the national city. It gets all the news coverage, or it doesn't get the coverage like New York. So it's like New York, LA get all the coverage. And then San Francisco, they have their homelessness and their $1 million toilets that they're installing and their corrupt mayors and stuff. But Oakland it's easily, bro, it's easily worse than San Francisco. Like, I couldn't even get footage. I couldn't even get pictures and stuff of like all that's happening, because as you're just driving around, it's literally just everywhere. I would just crash trying to take photos and videos of all of it. All the underpasses are completely taken over by bums, tents. It's just disgusting. Now, I will say that in San Francisco, while there's a completely open air drug market as well, it's bad too. They threw rocks at my car. I don't know if I mentioned that to you, but I was taking a video out of the car, because there's one street, I think it's called Leavenworth. And it's just, I mean, it's like when you think of like junkie San Francisco, it is that. It's just tents, needles, people passed out. You don't even know if they're alive, if they're dead. And then at the corner of Turk and Leavenworth, there's like at least half a dozen, maybe 10 just like young guys, like 20-something guys who are clearly like the providers of the drugs that these people are strung out on. And I'm taking a video out of the car, and they spot me taking a video and start to pelt the car with rocks. Like little rock, they didn't break any windows or anything. They just, are hitting the panels of the car. But it's like they're pretending they're mad at me because I'm taking a video. And it's like, I'm not the one doing the illegal stuff. I'm not the one selling dope to these dope fiends on the corner of a major intersection in a major American city. I just have an iPhone and a car, and you're mad at me pretending that I'm the one in the wrong. But that's how backwards everything is there. And it's just really dark, bro. Like, and it becomes clear when you drive through these cities, Oakland, San Francisco, Emeryville, Berkeley, all this stuff, that it's worked. The mission has been accomplished. There's no desire. They've been so beaten into a paste with propaganda that Gavin Newsom can literally come out and say, and maybe this is a good segue to, I don't know where you have these stories lined up, but Gavin Newsom can literally come out and say, California is the champion of freedom, and they just believe it, and they don't even remember that he locked you down while he was at the fanciest restaurant in the country.
Well, we can do that. Gavin Newsom insists he will not challenge Biden in 2024, despite speculation from the Washington Examiner's Asher Notheus, breaking news reporter, perhaps a Greek guy. That's just my speculation. Doesn't really matter. Gavin Newsom will not challenge President Joe Biden for the Democratic candidacy in 2024 election. Despite much speculation, he will run. Newsom's decision regarding the next presidential election comes after he won re-election, which is insane, of course. California's gubernatorial election on November 8th. Just made a visit to the White House while Biden was out of the United States, adding fuel to the speculation of a challenge to the presidency. That's kind of weird, isn't it, that he would go to the White House when the president wasn't there?
Who knows what they're doing, bro? We literally have no idea what these scumbags are doing. But there's a quote from him where he says, where is it? Something about California is has chosen freedom or something, and it's like, dude, yeah, there it is. The California governor discussed how the state's leadership had, quote, affirmed clearly with conviction that we are a true freedom state. And I think,
but
I think
is
what
that
he's,
true freedom is.
yeah, exactly. So what he's implying is that, yeah, we're not going to stop the criminals from bashing in buildings. We're not going to stop people from shooting
That's true
dope on
freedom.
the streets. Yeah, we're not going to stop them from pooping on the sidewalk. But we are going to stop your kids from going to school if they don't want to wear a mask. We are going to stop you from going into a restaurant if you don't comply with the pharmaceuticals. So that part has nothing to do with freedom. That's just public safety. But when you're a small business owner and your business is getting broken into, monthly, then that's just freedom. So I think that's what he's alluding to. And he's trying to, of course, play the card like, oh, well, DeSantis flew the migrants, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, I guess, like, you're the one that's a sanctuary city, a sanctuary state. And last thing here, just to bring it full circle, when I landed at the airport in Oakland, the first thing you see when you leave the airport, when you're driving off the premises of the Oakland International Airport, the first thing you see is a giant billboard that says, I took a video, I should have sent it to you, but a giant billboard that says, "Welcome to California. We support we protect abortion." It's like the first thing that they're doing. Yeah, it's really dark stuff, bro. So that's what freedom means to them. It has nothing to do with allowing you to choose what you're going to put in your body or what you're going to wear on your face. It has nothing to do with that. And yes, this is another bizarre story as well.
From K-Ron 4, is that how you say it?
We
or
always
Cron 4.
Yeah, we always called it Cron 4. It's just local.
San Francisco launches transgender guaranteed income program. Like this happened. This is 8 days after the election. So they were probably London Breed, your girl, announced that the launch of a new guaranteed income program for the trans community. I don't understand what the trans community did to get this money. It's probably not a whole lot of people, but you better believe that getting $1,200 each month is going to end up in a whole lot of people identifying as transgender. And if you're going to go through this route of, this community that says we are marginalized, you're skipping over black people. I'm sorry. Like, even though I don't believe in that, how does a black person supposed to feel when they're just like, oh no, sorry, trans people have gone through more. Sorry about that. Well, and the Japanese that lived there.
Could be black trans people? I don't know.
Well, yes, you're going to start seeing everybody identify as plans. The pilot program is the first guaranteed income initiative to focus solely on trans people and will provide regular unconditional cash transfers to individuals or households who qualify according to the mayor's office. this differs from other social safety net practices by providing a steady, predictable stream of cash to recipients. So $1,200 a month, all you need then is like a part-time job, if we're being completely honest. And then you can start just do nothing. You go to work 3 times a week, and then you just do nothing but drugs, probably.
But look, what about all the they skipped over the black people, but what about all the homeless? I mean, there's probably I would
The
venture to
homeless
say
as
that
well?
there's probably exactly. There's probably I mean, I would venture to say there's probably still some homeless people that I could spot from even living and working there from more than a decade ago, right? So those people just all, if they're not trans, and it just like, oh yeah, well you've been living on the street for the last 2 decades, but whatever, you're not a delusional weirdo who wants to cut your junk off, so you're not getting any of that money. But I
It
also
gets
think
even weirder.
but I think
Go ahead.
I haven't even read the details of this, but I feel like it's just going to end up sort of like a Joe Biden plan where they're just throwing these things at the wall via press conference, and it's not real, and it's eventually nothing's going to happen. So what do we see with the eviction moratorium? Oh, it gets struck down because legally it's not real. Oh, the mandates.
You can't
So
just
is it really going to happen?
give
Who
people
knows?
you can't give people unfair benefit based on their appearance, basically, or their I don't know, their gender status. Probably that's sexist technically, if we're going to call it a gender. The gift program, of course it's called, will provide eligible trans individuals.
They're so good at that. They're so the For the People Act, and they're so good with the euphemisms and the names and stuff.
Temporary, air quotes, temporary income and a range of wraparound direct services such as gender affirming medical and mental health care. What is gender affirming medical care, we know, is, surgeries, which is a terrible way to put it, and gender affirming mental health care. Now, this is an argument that's going around a lot lately, Eric, and one that I think is pretty smart, is that there is no other illness for which you affirm. You don't tell an anorexic that they are fat. You don't tell a person who binge eats that they don't eat enough. You don't tell a person who does heroin that more heroin is the solution. Heroin affirming care is what we need to start. But that's what this is.
They do basically do that, for the record. That's why they give out the free needles and the safe injection sites. So they kind of do.
Well, it's wrong, is what I'm saying. City will accept applications from November 15th to December 15th. And quote, our guaranteed income programs allow us to help our residents when they need it most as part of our city's economic recovery and our commitment to creating a more just city for all. So San Francisco is so unfair to trans people that they have to give them money to make it a more just city.
Is there a link
we know
there?
that our trans
Should we try it?
Maybe we should. I probably won't because I don't have a zip code in the US, but you should try it. If it's literally just
I have a zip code, but
if it's literally just are you trans, you should do it. This is a video.
Well, Matt Walsh did a little investigation into it, and they had like some absurd amount of genders, and then of course the F word was one of them. Remember, the F word was a gender.
Listen to this. We know that our trans community, this is London Breed, experience much higher rates of poverty and discrimination. So this will target support to lift individuals in this community. So trans people are more discriminated against than everybody in the city that is the most trans, in the state that is the most trans in the world. Eric Butler of Tatum Report and UnAuthorizedOpinions.com.
Yeah, and can I just say, in San Francisco, they have repainted some of the bus stations. So what used to be like the Muni colors, it would be like brown or yellow. It was like the color of the Muni, like the theme of the Muni buses. They've repainted some of the bus stops to the colors of the trans flag. And there's like a trans, like, so they've completely jumped out the window. What is this? Okay. Even with our rich history of trans advocacy, we see that trans San Franciscans experience poverty at exponentially. That's because, it's because they're not well. So they're broke because they can't get jobs because they're not well.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, is that, of course, they're the most homeless people because they have, mental health problems.
So can we, before we go on to we didn't do the Volkswagen thing.
And it's not mean to say that.
but I wanted to see if because I do kind of want to connect this to what we see in Oakland. I don't know if you have the other clip that I sent you of the liberation thing,
I thought that I
because
downloaded that, but I can do it pretty quickly.
well, it's very strange because that particular part of Oakland i- is I don't know, is like impoverished. I don't know. It's a pretty rough, it's a pretty rough neighborhood of Oakland, and they put all this liberation propaganda up there, and they've convinced people in a
Mm-hmm.
in a rough part of Oakland that you're not free. It's like, bro, y- you're on the invisible leash.
Yeah.
Like you could like look, I know it's hard. It's always hard. Like life is not fair, bro. Like some people have it harder than others, right? Like eh, you could be Hunter Biden and get away with you could spit in the face of a cop and throw your gun in the trash and do coke with underage hookers and you'll be fine. Life's not fair, but they're for them to pretend that they're painting these big murals in Oakland talking about liberation as if there's somebody in Oakland that's holding these people down. It's you, bro. Like I get it. It's tough, but we all have to come up with some. I mean, you could go out there and steal catalytic converters. Like there's
Well, let me ask you: is it more dangerous there, San Francisco, than it was before, or is it now just more homeless people, or is it doubly as dangerous because it's violent homeless people throwing rocks at you, or is it just homeless people that are dangerous? So those are like four options. I know dangerous still, not dangerous, dangerous because of homeless and criminals, or dangerous just because of the homeless.
the third one. So it is definitely more dangerous. And look, I was dude when I was a kid, when I was in what 8th or ninth grade maybe. I came in contact with some like hoodlums, some thugs. They wanted my Air Jordans. You know what I mean? So it's always been like a little rough, but it's definitely worse. And this video here, right? It's Liberation Park. So they're convincing you that you need to be liberated. That there's nothing like. It's just so blatantly obvious that the invisible cage that they're putting these people in, like you need to be free. You're not even free right now. And on the left, which is cut out, but on the left, there's literally a guy just peeing in the middle of the street, just peeing, just not up against the
Well, that's
wall,
good.
like so right out of the frame on the left there, or immediately out of the frame on the left, I should say. And I had to do a double take because I was like, is this really happening? Like, so not even across the street, but in the middle of the street from the park that is supposed to be so freeing for this downtrodden population, there's a guy just peeing in the middle of the street. And that's kind of, it's like, dude, you guys are, you're, it's the, what do they say? I forget who said it. It's like it's the soft bigotry of low expectation. They are of the opinion that the people of East Oakland are so stupid that they think they're not free. And it's like this video clip that you see. Was it Sav recently was out asking young girls about white privilege, and they don't have an answer. And I think I would venture to say it would be the same thing if you go around now. I would also venture to say that it might not be safe to go around the hood and start asking questions like that. Just, honest opinion, like, unless you tote the strap, which you can't get because you're a law-abiding citizen. But you can't
And
go there
Canadian in some cases.
and tell people and ask people, so hey, so I see this big liberation billboard, like where do you feel like you need to be liberated, like what's holding you back? And they wouldn't really have an answer. They would say, oh,
White supremacy.
yeah, but it's just, again, I can't stress enough that I understand that life can be hard. Everybody's dealt a different set of cards, but there's it's not the woke white mayor who's the outgoing white mayor who may or may not be Jewish, different story. The woke female mayor who's leaving, and now this new Asian mayor who I don't even remember her name is going to come in, and they're oppressing people. No, they're doing every single, well, they are oppressing these people, but it's completely backwards, right? Like it's them pretend, it's like the transgender thing. They're pretending like we're gonna save you, but it's really you're just enabling this lazy lifestyle and these people that want to shoot dope. So it is happening, but it's not happening in the way that they think it's happening. And maybe I'm not explaining it right, but it's completely and totally evil, in my opinion.
Well, I feel like it's very 1984 to be in the sense that it's the government telling you that you're not free, but it's not them. So while you're, I don't know, what did you say was across the street from that? Was it an apartment building or something?
Oh, from the Liberation billboard?
Yeah.
Well, it's a park, but it used to be a mall. So when I was growing up, it was a mall, and then they turned the parking lot into a park. And now the mall's almost completely abandoned. There might be like, this is gonna sound terrible, but there might still be a Foot Locker in there or something. But everything, everything else is gone. And then that's just like the hood. So that's kind of like, I mean, it's easy for me because I'm familiar with the area. Like I used to drive through it because I would drive through it on the way to high school in Alameda, which is like, Alameda is like a nice little suburb, and that's where I went to high school. And for the record, there's a bridge. Alameda is an island, and there's a bridge that goes from Oakland to Alameda. And when you cross the bridge into Alameda, they're gone. There's no tents. There's no bums. It's just it's crazy because when I was driving, I was reminiscing. I hadn't been home in a long time, so I drove by my old high school to see what it looked like. And luckily, I can say there was no progress flags with the rainbow and all that. That wasn't there, so that was a step in the right direction. But as soon as I drove back over the bridge, not even a block, and there's tent. It's a tent city. Like they for whatever reason, I don't know if the Alameda police or I don't know exactly why, but they won't cross the bridge. They won't cross the bridge into Alameda. So that's almost like the physical invisible leash that these people are on. Like you could, in theory, I guess, just set up your tent on the other side of the bridge, and you wouldn't have to worry about the other homeless people stealing your stuff. But maybe I don't look. I don't know. They want to be in groups. They want to live in these little shanty towns. I don't know exactly what's happening, but you're 100% right. It's very Orwellian. It's very 1984. Like you're being oppressed, but it's not us.
It's not the people as you look across the street from your business that's been shut down probably due to poor economic situation in the area or from COVID stuff. And I'm very familiar with this. My hometown had so many malls, and then they sent the car plant jobs to Mexico through what was NAFTA. And you're looking across the street, and you're seeing this, and it's like they're saying you are oppressed. And you might be looking around and saying, yeah, you're right. And then you ask who, and they say, oh, not us, not your direct government, not your state government, not by your federal representation in the Democrat Party, but this omnipotent force of something else. And there's nothing you can really do about it because it's always existed and it's always going to exist. And the only reason we're going to give you money is if you're a trans person.
Yeah,
and that's basically
the white
it.
people. The white people in Appalachia, they're racist, so that's why you're
The
oppressed.
blue
basically.
people, you seen
it's
those blue people?
It's crazy. And the last thing I wanted to say about this too is that in Oakland, it was a couple years ago now, but Starbucks made headlines because they were opening a big Starbucks / community center in East Oakland,
Okay.
not far from that. So they jumped through all these hoops so that they could get this Starbucks up and running in the hood, right? And of course,
Sounds lovely.
People complained because it was going to gentrify the neighborhood and the property values were going to go up. So they kind of want to have it both ways, right? So they want you to stay out because then we're going to get pushed out if things start to change, but they won't change things themselves, like whether it's keeping a better eye on their kids and I mean everything, bro. When you drive down MacArthur or 73rd, you don't know these streets, but when you drive, they're completely abandoned, bro. It's all boarded up. It's just it's gone. Like as soon
sounds like my hometown.
as soon as the A's
Dangerous.
leave, when the A's get out of there, because the A's aren't even filling, they're not even filling the stadium. But when they leave, it's done. It's over. I mean, it's already pretty much over, but yeah, it's dark stuff. Dark.
I want to shout out to our Twitch viewer, That's not heroin. You're rejecting its freedom, he says. And then he says he wants to know how to super chat, which is on the YouTube stream on my channel, youtube.com/Andrew says. But shout out Twitch. We're growing on Twitch.
Yeah,
We're on
see?
Getter. Shout out Getter. Unauthorized opinions on there. And of
You
course,
forget the
Twitter.
Twitch. You forget the intro Twitch shout out every time when you're.
I do every time, but now I can't. If this guy hops on or this girl hops on and super chats us, then we'll never forget ever again. And on Twitter, which we're streaming on every time, you have to remember of these new weird rules that they have. I mean, some people are allowed, and then Alex Jones is not allowed. You can't talk about 9/11 conspiracies. You can't talk about conspiracies about other things. So the Elon Musk believes in all free speech is kind of weird because now we've immediately gone to selective free speech, and because it's not a crime to not believe government's
But there is
stories,
no
right? Gulf
right.
of Tonkin, I believe it's called.
There is
Um,
no selective free speech, right? That doesn't make it's either free or it's not.
Exactly. Yeah, but then they go, oh, it's only from the government. So, and then the Elon apologist, and Eric, just a second before we get to the title track here, which we have to get to, but it has to do with Elon. The Elon simps are so cringy. Every single time this sounds like a wonderful idea, Elon. Oh, I don't see how anyone can have a problem with this, Elon. Let me shine your shoes, Mr. Musk. And it's like he can't make a bad decision, even when it's objectively bad and people know it's bad, and other people who have done it, they would say, no, Jack Dorsey's a piece of crap for this. He's being selective about who he shadow bans. Shadow ban Project Veritas, huge story for so long. Elon Musk says outright, we will shadow ban you for your hate speech. There's like 10 people who will say that it's stupid. And one of those 10 people is Bryson, of course. Other people have been canceled. And you're not supposed to say when Elon's doing bad things. And then they'll say, hey, it's part of it. They're doing the Elon version of 8D chess now. Have you noticed this? That it's part of his plan to get advertisers back. And his Trump poll was to expose the bots. Everything has an 8D chess move. And hey, it's probably more likely when Elon does it that it's 11D chess. But you still can't be like, oh, this is excusable because this is my guy. And somebody like Anomaly, who's been on Trump's ass for years now, and maybe you think he plays it up a bit too much. Sometimes he does, but he was right about a lot of the Trump stuff, especially in regards to inflation. Now you're gonna have to start seeing people point that out about Elon, because people are going to start saying Elon can do no good, and he is a Greek god chiseled from the stones of Apollo or something, and he sees everything, my lord.
Yeah, well, the Elon thing goes both ways, though, right? Because Elon on the establishment left, he really should have been he really should have been a savior, right? He was the electric car guy. He was going to save the planet. But now they hate him, and then you have maybe the free speech or the common sense sort of people who like him, and then they can't accept when he's doing something that doesn't really make sense. So it's all over the place. Like Elon really is an enigma. Like, you have the like the real hardcore, like he's gonna brain chip you and he's the demon, and they're screaming about his Halloween costume and stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't even use Twitter. So you can follow me there though, at Report No Pine.
Well, there's these people that think that he's so altruistic and so pure of heart. I have a friend that's like this, who thinks he's amazing, and then you can just tell by the speeches where he goes up and he's like, fossil fuels will be obsolete in X amount of years. Of course he's going to say that because he makes electric cars, and it's fine if you think electric cars are cool. Joe Rogan talks about how fast his fancy version of his Tesla is, though. I don't know, maybe you want a Cybertruck. It's a different way. It's something that you can charge in a different way.
You can't even drive from San Francisco to LA.
My point is that it's an alternate thing, but if you're going to try to claim and be like, these batteries aren't made in Chinese-run mines, there isn't a whole bunch of parts from China. China's not colonizing Africa to build these, to dig up this lithium easier, and Elon Musk is a savior for the humanity. Electric vehicles and everything run on AOC's preferred electrical board is way better. Well, then you're lying to yourself. People just have a cult of personality with him, and they think because he's not a politician, it makes them it's a better choice for them to go after. But he's just the next guy. Whether it's Ben Shapiro or Donald Trump or Elon Musk, they all come they emerge out of this sea of mediocrity. That is not to say they're not great at what they do, of course. I'm just saying the mediocrity is such a high level, and the arms are grabbing up from you from the sea of Cenk Uyghurs and Fakers and MSNBC Joy Reids and such. They're reaching up, and the people who emerge, they're going to seem by comparison to be godsends and saviors. But
Yeah,
you
the
can't
bar
put
is
all
low.
your eggs into one. Yeah, you can't put all your eggs into one Tesla, just like you can't put all your eggs into Jordan Peterson's basket. And because everybody will disappoint you. I'll disappoint you when I say that. I don't know what's so disappointing about me, Eric. Let's spend a minute on this. What's one of my views that people
Tim Hortons is
won't
good.
like?
I don't know.
No, it's not even that good. I don't know. I'm sure there's some view I have that isn't like right wing enough for a lot of people, and I say, meh, I don't care. And then that's my point. There is, besides me, everyone has a fault.
But I think the good thing about Elon though is that it's happening on both sides. And that kind of at least leads you to believe that he's sort of at least doing it his way. If nothing else, he's kind of like able to. I mean, he still capitulates though with these weirdo organizations, these hate whatever watchdog groups or whatever. But the
Who
fact
does?
that Elon, like, where
Yes.
didn't he with some stupid organization that was gonna monitor the speech? But what I'm saying is that, so on the left, they liked him because he was doing electric cars, and we all know that we have to get off
Mm-hmm.
fossil fuels. But then they don't like him because he's letting people say whatever they want on Twitter, but not really. And then there's the
But
other
not
people over
actually. Yeah.
there who want him to let people say whatever they want, but it's not. So everybody's basically mad at him, and I think he actually alluded to that being sort of a good thing, and I think it kind of is. Again, I'm not deep enough into the
19D
Twitter.
chess.
I'm not deep enough into the Twitter wormhole or rabbit hole or whatever to really understand actually what's happened, because I think look, I think Twitter is largely the reason, and I was talking about this with somebody back home, is that when I left college, Twitter wasn't really a thing yet. But a
Mm-hmm.
year or so later, Twitter was a thing. And then comes the unraveling of the basic the foundation of society. So before that, like when I was in college, it was like, oh yeah, like yeah, there's some gay guys and some drag queens and they go have fun at night. But then a year or two later, it was no, we're women and you must address us as such. So I think Twitter has basically been the demise. You know, they were the catalyst for even Instagram. Twitter was before Instagram. Um, so I guess the point I'm trying to make is everybody's gonna hate Elon, and I would be fine if Twitter just went away. I wouldn't bother me one bit.
I'd like to take an opportunity in this break in the action to mention how much of your accent comes out on the word bridge. Bridge.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't even. When did I
Say
say
it
bridge? Bridge,
earlier.
like the Golden Gate Bridge or the Bay
Bridge.
Bridge. I don't know if I
Bridge.
hear. I don't know if I hear that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you're saying bridge.
uh,
Volkswagen brands, including Audi. Yeah, you're saying it. And this was a big story when GMC did it. One of our biggest stories on Instagram, I'd say. Volkswagen brands, including Audi and Lamborghini, suspend Twitter activities. Automakers fleeing the platform amid restructuring. And let's see this Robert Herjavec. I've been watching. I watched probably 20 episodes. I don't know, 20
wait, where did it
segments.
mention him? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I was just going back up to this. Is Gary Gastelum of Fox Business.
Oh,
But I guess Robert Herjavec discusses Elon Musk's management of Twitter to halt the blue checkmark relaunch and the concerns. But that's interesting. I was saying I've been watching like 20 different segments of Shark Tank. It looks like it's cut off a bit for people. How's that? Oh, it's going to be cut off a bit regardless. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm going to read it for you, though. All Volkswagen Group brands, which include Audi, Lamborghini, Bentley, and Porsche, in the U.S. have paused paid activities, company confirmed on Wednesday. People are going to like this because they're not going to look into it, Eric, and they're going to see this headline and they're going to be like, why are you doing this? and they're not going to like it. Volkswagen has previously advised its brands to halt any paid advertising on the platform, reported by Reuters. Audi will continue to respond to customer inquiries, but will not proactively post or advertise. So, again, a temporary switch for publicity. We take it. Quote, we are monitoring the situation closely and we'll decide on the next steps depending on developments. I'm guessing, Eric, this must have to be something regarding like the advertising rules. That do they know something we don't know about, or are they simply doing this for the PR cause of we don't know if Elon's evil yet, but we will stand by.
Well,
Stellantis has paused advertising while General Motors has suspended all Twitter activity across its brands. Go ahead.
okay, but I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't realize that Bentleys were Volkswagen. I didn't know that, so that's news to me. And I also didn't know that they were. I was kind of under the impression that these, I've never seen a Lamborghini ad. They don't run Super Bowl ads. They don't run. Are they pulling that much cash from the site? Like they were running paid Twitter ads for
Well,
blue check Twitter people to go buy a Lamborghini? Okay, I guess.
Well, what I don't understand is who are these people that say, when I look for an automobile, I look for Twitter ads of it. I'm
Yeah.
convinced by, I mean, the argument is that exposure everywhere. Of course, you get brand recognition, but I don't think any love is going to be lost. And I don't think they're thinking of this in the way that they should. I think they're thinking of this and people will like that we're not siding with Elon Musk right away for now, so that when we come back, people won't realize it. Again, the 2-month attention span, they'll say,
Well, how about this?
oh, we paused our stuff until we figured out what Elon Musk was going to do about hate speech, blah, blah, blah. But now is somebody going to say, I'm going to buy a car because it's not on Twitter? Is this something even worth publicizing?
No, it's not. It's all absolute nonsense. And I mean, I hearken back to the days. I'm still reminiscing from being back at home to the days of there not being ads all over social media, where I could scroll through
Mhm.
Instagram without every 2 posts seeing a sponsored ad. So fine, take your ads off. I don't care. Let's do it without ads. Let's listen to people's stupid opinions that they have every single hour of the day, because that's what we're here for. We're not here to like nobody. Yeah, like you said, bro. Do you go on Twitter like, you know what? I'm in the market for a car, and then a Bentley ad pops up, and you're like, well, I guess I better spend $500,000 on a Bentley because this ad really suggests. Like, what? It doesn't even make any sense. So these people, it's all virtue signaling. It's the same thing. It's like Elon might be mean to the trannies, so we're gonna pull our ads. Okay, all right,
Well,
fine.
yeah, you're right. Lamborghini and Bentleys, you don't see very many ads, maybe print ads for Bentley. I don't recall ever seeing a Lamborghini ad. Every 13-year-old boy had a Lamborghini thing in their bedroom anyways, without ever seeing an ad. Maybe that's just us white kids, Eric. I don't know about you. But every kid I knew had a Lamborghini poster. I had a Lamborghini Diablo, like framed thing in my room. I wonder where that is. But yeah, they don't need to advertise. They don't capitalize on advertising when there's like 500 versions of your car a year or something, or 100 versions of a Lamborghini every year. So it's probably a very easy thing for them to say, we're pausing all ads for our $500,000 cars. Well, you probably ran like one for whenever you think your
Yeah.
sales are the highest anyways.
Yeah, it's just like
They
when
do
Joe
it with
Biden
people.
pardoned all the weed smokers. It's not real. It's just a virtue signal. It's just like, look, we're on board. We're doing the thing too. It's the current thing. We got it. We're on board, right? Hey, all right. It's not real.
Well, we got a super chat here from Peter Berg. I know there's a movie producer named Pete Berg, but shout out this Peter Berg, just 5 straight Canadian dollars.
Also,
Thank
was
you
that
for
like
that.
$1 in American?
Something like that. Yeah, you're gonna like your central bank digital ID, and you're gonna love it, Eric. Rebel. I almost said rebelnews.com, but what I meant is I don't work there anymore. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Unauthorizedopinions.com. UOPod.com. Thank you for listening on Spotify, Apple, and Google if you're there. Best podcast on Getter. Anybody got something to say on Getter? I don't know. I refreshed it. Sorry about that. But thank you for watching on there. And of course, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Shout out Twitch. Like I said, don't don't cisgender me, Andrew. I'll do my best. Thank you for watching on Twitch. All of our episodes are backlogged there on Twitch. If you're interested. Anything else to say, Eric, before we ski-daddle?
No, obviously buy my book, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued, on Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble.
Is there going to be a Oakland version of that?
No, I didn't. I wanted to put in some more work, but honestly, Oakland is dangerous, and I didn't have the time. But maybe I'll get back to Oakland. And there's a lot of things on the list that I want to do, including maybe out of the country.
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. Biggie Smalls is the illest.
Turn it up, Jordan.